Hello everyone, I hope you're all well today. This should be a quick video. I just plan to do a upgrade to a 3TB hard drive in my original Xbox. I have the adapter. I've already upgraded to an 80-pin IDE cable earlier when I was into this and did a restoration on this and removed the clock capacitor. Now I have an adapter and I want to do a 3TB upgrade. Mostly because I have a whole bunch of extra 3TB hard drives around here. I surplused them when I did a NAS upgrade many years ago, and I have several of those extras laying around. I have another one there, in fact, that I'm going to be putting into a PS2 at a later point. So I see no reason not to use them, and I'll do the upgrade here. So we'll go ahead and get this Xbox taken apart. Okay, now we're inside. We won't even need to do a complete disassembly here today because we are only upgrading the hard drive. Although this caddy does need to come out, so which I do believe sits over top of this. So let's just check here. This here, there's a small screw hidden underneath your ID cable. It's going to look different than this one. This one is, like I said, that 80-pin upgrade. That is required if you want to use a SATA converter. So you'll need the 80-pin cable if you want to do this and use a SATA drive. Okay, now with that drive out, we'll take out the screws to release this hard drive. Place it with this one. Okay, we have the old hard drive out. This was actually an upgrade that I did before. This isn't the original hard drive that came in here. This is a 200 gigabyte, which was more than enough. There was still plenty of extra free space on this hard drive. I wasn't even using probably half of it, but I wanted to do this upgrade and use the SATA drive and use up some of these 3TB drives that I had laying around. And I plan to kind of install a kind of a complete set of games and software on this so that it's kind of in its final form. So we'll need this adapter. I ordered this in. This is the good one to get. It's the StarTech one. You're not going to have any problems if you use this one. This is the one that's tried and tested. So I read enough to know early that that was the case, so that's the reason why I know that this one will work. And I in fact probably plan to get an extra one because I do have a second Xbox around here, and I'm probably going to want to do an upgrade of its own for that one day. So before these are gone and hard to get, I'm going to get another one because I got this from Amazon, so they're available now. But this kind of technology does not last forever, and then it becomes harder to get and more expensive. So I might just get another one of these. For now though, we want to get this drive. In fact, we actually are only going to install things in a temporary form here because I wanted to initialize and reformat these hard drives in my PC just before I put them in here. They came from a old Synology NAS that I told you, and when I put them in my PC, they were barely recognized, not even directly to the computer, until I used an old USB enclosure, and only one of those two that I had worked too. So, and I couldn't initialize it or format it, and I went through disk part and did the clean, could not create any volumes or partitions on it. It was showing up at kind of barely anytime I tried to initialize it, it would say access denied. So it was giving me all kinds of problems that there seemed to be no way to get this formatted on Windows. And I'm sure if I spent more time with it, maybe I could. But I wanted to get it into here, and the partitioning tools and formatting tools that the Xbox uses are Linux based, which was the next avenue that I was about to take on my Windows PC to get this thing formatted and initialized. So I'm hoping these partitioning Linux tools that run on the Xbox through the utility disk that I have for it will be able to format this. So in the meantime, I only want to get it installed temporary because I'm not sure right now that these disks are even in a usable state. They certainly weren't on my Windows machine, so we're gonna get them in here on temporary to test it and see if it can be formatted. So that will mean, so I haven't done this before either, so well, it's pretty straightforward. Oh, but I do need to make sure that it's set as the master, and there's a pin header here with a jumper there. And as you can see, if you can see there, I know the setup's not great, but it's in the master position already, so that's not something you should have to worry about unless you change it. And then this should just plug right into it with one missing pin, so it plugs in this way. And this long cable here, I'm not sure what to do with that. I've seen somebody else cut it off and it seemed like a good idea to me too, so I'm going to evaluate that. I might leave a connector there though, because I want to do some lighting mods or something in here one day. Maybe that might be nice to have. Extra power cable there, so we'll see. Like I said, this is all going to just be kind of temporary for now. Also seen some people had concern about that shorting out against the jive, and I don't think it would be in a final form, but like I said, this is all just temporary. So everything's plugged in here now. I'm gonna move it over, get it all hooked up and into that utility disk, and let's see if we can get this to format. So let's just hope, because I certainly know that my Windows could not get it formatted. So I'm hoping the utility disk tools that I have that boot from this old DVD, which is funny too, because I burnt that DVD today for the first time. It feels like I've burned a disk in like 20 years. I don't know if it's been that long, but it's been a minute. So I had to burn that today, and we're gonna boot from it and see if we can format this new hard drive. Okay, we'll see you guys when we're all set up. Okay, we're back. I got everything all plugged in. I just ejected the disk tray to load the utility disk and OG Xbox installer. It's a new modified up-to-date version. It's already kicked me into safe mode on SirBIOS. I installed this just earlier today, knowing I was going to need it for running a larger hard drive, anything larger than 2 terabytes that is. So yeah, I don't know what that is, but let's just, we're gonna just boot from the disk. I needed to get that disk in there to boot, so let's just get that disk booting, hopefully. There's a red light on the front of the Xbox right now, so let's just see where this goes. Like I said, I don't even know about that disk. If it's gonna boot, it sure wouldn't format. Oh, but this is a good sign. This is what I was hoping for. So I wanted to see if this thing would even recognize a hard disk, because my Windows certainly wouldn't. And I even plugged it back into the original Synology and was recognized as a USB disk and started to format it, and I thought I'd overcome the problem, but even that crashed. It just said crashed. Nothing seemed to crash, but the process didn't complete. So Let's hold both triggers and start. Yeah, I want to see all the red. I tried to do the most destructive formatting I possibly could with this on Windows. Looked like it made all my partitions there too, so okay, that's what I want. Okay, this looks like a good sign. I almost want to run all my other hard drives that I have there because I tested a few of them thinking maybe I had a problem with this one. And then maybe with the next one, I tried like 3 hard drives before I realized that. And even I tried a different brand because I have a bunch of the ones in green, the Western Digital greens. And then I had a couple Seagate ones too that I tried, or one that I tried, and it had the same problems. So yeah, it would almost be a good thing to run them all through this Xbox and get formatted so that they could be used in other projects in the future, because I don't know what the solution is through Windows, but I think this might be the fix, at least on an Xbox. Um, so let's just see. It's not running anything yet, but we're gonna hope that we can get a dashboard now installed onto that hard drive and reload all the stuff that was backed up already. So this is OG Xbox installer. We're just going to launch that, and this has a bunch of utilities on it, a ton of them actually. I was in here browsing around just earlier as I was kind of getting some things set up for this project, and it seemed like all the utilities all in one place on this disk. So this was the first disk that I burnt in a long time. It was fun to burn that. I actually had bought a new writer back when the Blu-ray exploit was kind of first announced for the PlayStation 5. I bought a nice Blu-ray writer because I didn't have an easy way to burn a Blu-ray around here. Well, I kind of did, but it meant using an old PC. And going forward, I would want something at least to be able to like use that format for projects like this and on the PS5, whatever it might have to offer. So having that DVD, CD, and Blu-ray writer, I got a nice Pioneer one. Those are always the known good ones for burning the most compatible games. So I know that technology is not going to be around for much longer, and they're not making newer models, so it feels good to have a good one in its final form, I think. So, but back to this, we want to do some format and setup. So these menus, there's lots of them, and they go deep, and there's a lot of utilities, but I think what we're looking for is in here. And we want to format and set up a hard drive, so that seems pretty simple. And when I was looking at this earlier, I think this new large, so that's what we are going past the 2 terabyte, and after 2 terabyte it required this update that at least the Executor 3 BIOS couldn't run, so I had to install SirBIOS onto this. I have the Executor 3, and it has a bunch of BIOS banks on it, and the Executor BIOS runs on banks 1 through 4, so I set the dip switches that are on the front for bank 8 and flashed SirBIOS on that earlier this morning to get that up and running, because I knew that I would need that for the compatibility with this new hard drive. And I was able to get that done, so we want to, yeah, okay, this usually is a good sign here too. So, I'm not sure if it's just going through that same process again, but well, it appears so. I thought this was where it would also, with the all-in-one, install the dashboard. I believe maybe the stock dashboard or even custom dashboards are installed on this disk. In fact, I know they are, just have to get them installed, I think, for a first boot, and I can take over from there, get XBMC for gamers as the dashboard, restore, which maybe not. I'm probably actually going to start with a fresh install if I can with this, a clean, even though I made a backup of what was on there. There wasn't anything there that I needed to keep, so I might just start fresh with a clean install on this hard drive and then install all my software from there and have this thing all set up with plenty of space to spare. So get through that process. Well, okay, so I think we still need to install the dashboard, and I believe we'll need to, which I could even do through FTP, I'm sure at this point, even if that meant, because I don't think the SirBIOS has a FTP that runs. Oh, here we go. It is actually doing what I wanted to do there, right through the FTP. So right now it'll be transferring the files, the dashboard files those look like, onto the hard drive. Yeah, okay, so that all-in-one setup is exactly what we wanted here. It's going to copy over, basically these are the files I probably had the same backups for, and right there you can even see actually some dashboards. I'll probably even go in here and do some cleanup after, because some of this legacy stuff is not really needed anymore. I'll be running really only XBMC for gamers probably on this, and I'll have a backup to obviously the default dashboard, and even I'll probably keep regular XBMC on here too. And sure, why not? I'll have those other ones stick around too, because all the different dashboards all had their own time and place and stories, so it's good to have them all. It's been a great scene over the years with the Xbox and all of its evolutions, and how active the scene is even still to this day. So we'll go ahead and let this get installed and everything, and then I'll come back with you guys, because this could take some while to set up. But the good news is that hard drive spinning. I can hear the files copying. That is has its partitions, everything on it, so I'll be able to reinstall the hard drive, get the screws and everything back into it. I might do a nicer job folding that cable. Actually, I do want to have another project with this. I want to replace the 5 or 6, depending on which model this one has, capacitors by the CPU. Those are the ones that are known to fail. I've already removed the clock capacitor, which will fail and has failed in so many Xboxes already. But the 5 that are around the CPU and the GPU, they're known to fail too. So I've already got new ones here. I ordered them to replace. And in fact, I do eventually want to replace all of the capacitors in the Xbox and all my old consoles that are getting up in age of 20 years and more, to keep them alive and well. But for now, I know I have the parts required to do those 5, which may be my only real concern out of the ones that are in there. So getting those taken care of will be a fun project, and I'll probably make another video from that. Okay, I sped that up on the footage, so that took a little longer than it looked on the video. For those of you that are still watching and found what those files being installed as exhilarating as I did. So this is a screen that I have no idea about. But it's probably a good thing. I hope. I believe this to be a part of the all-in-one feature of that setup. So I think we're just gonna go with it here and hope this is the right Although it doesn't seem like all the space is accounted for. It looks like it's only going up to 2 terabyte, and I don't know if that's just where um, we're not running the. We're just gonna go with it right now. There's nothing on here that can't be done again. Um, if nothing is, if there's something not set up right, I can repeat this process. I was really just hoping that the hard drive could be recognized and formatted. So let's just take a couple, or hopefully maybe just one run at getting it all set up. But if it takes a couple, that's fine too, because I already know I'm going to rework my BIOS with some settings already that I've seen that I'd like to change on that. So I'll be reflashing the BIOS, getting that a little more customized with the boot automations and the boot screens. So let's just see if we can keep going through this process here of, okay, maybe I did, oh, did I not? Yeah, I think I did. Well, do I need to do each one of these? Is that what's going on here? Those of you that know will probably find that funny. If I'm doing this right or not. Either way, it looks like I'm writing each of these different partitions. I'm not sure. Sometimes it's kind of fun being as destructive as this. I like to kind of get a kick out of breaking it sometimes, especially when it's from scratch and I'm just can rebuild it anyways. I'd like to kind of test its limits sometimes, actually, to break things, and especially in the early, before I have anything set up, because right now is where I can just easily go through a couple menus to do everything again and know exactly how some of these features work without kind of being left wondering what if I had tried something different, or I was always wondering about a different way of doing it or something. So now's the time to try those things if you want to, when you can do it all over again in just a few seconds. So I don't know what we do here. We're just going to press back, start, to write and format, any other button to quit. So I don't know what we did to the partition tables there. It felt pretty destructive. I did a bunch of writing and I thought I seen some numbers change at the end there. I might have, oh, well, look at this. We actually booted into the regular dashboard, which makes sense, although the custom dashboards are still on here. If it reboots right now, oh no, because I don't know where the disk had put its dashboard, but the settings in my BIOS are probably not pointing at it, and that's probably why we got to stock dashboard. Okay, we're back here. I had to figure out the partitioning problem that I had. It ended up being two problems actually. It was not being recognized by the SATA on my motherboard, but was being recognized through a USB adapter that I had and have used before, and I was unable to format it in any way while it was hooked up through the USB to the computer, through my Synology, through an old Mac, each recognized by that USB, but unable to format and get any kind of a partition or a volume on that drive. It was the longest road I've ever been down when it came to partitioning, and I've been down some long roads, but I finally resolved the issue. Ended up being with my SATA controller of some kind on my motherboard. Got that resolved, finally had it recognized properly, directly attached to the motherboard, and formatted. I actually formatted the rest of those drives I had in that batch I talked about, because I didn't want to have to see this problem again. And they're all formatted now and easily recognized. And then after that, the simplest way to do this, if you're using a hard drive that's greater than 2 terabytes, is to download Fat Explorer, and then it will format and create the partitions for you. When you get to the options to F drive, you can actually go to G drive first and untick the box to even create that partition, and then go back to your F drive, click the max button. It'll give you the full size of the remainder of your hard drive. And actually, as you can see here, I'll show you. in the F drive, and you'll even see there the G drive is unavailable, so there was no need to even have an extra partition on this hard drive. I wanted everything to be in F, and it gets the full amount there. So you're looking at almost 3 terabytes. Well, the remainder of the 3 terabytes left over from what's used on the C and E partition for the dashboard and system files. But F gets the rest, and greater than 3 terabytes. It was simple to get running with the Sir BIOS. You might have actually seen the error that we had on the DVD drive. There's an option with the Sir BIOS to disable the check for DVD. I didn't think that would be necessary since my DVD is working, so I may try to figure that out because everything should work, and I don't know why I was not detecting it properly there. So I'll look into that. It's not a big problem because it actually still works even though the check is disabled for it, I think. I put a disc in there and it showed it spinning and everything anyways, so I'll have to look into it. Might not be a big deal, but actually what was a really cool feature of Fat Explorer is as you go through the process, it asks if you'd like to restore backups. And before I started this process, I had already connected my old hard drive through an FTP and backed up all 3 of the C, E, and F drives. So it gives you the 3 options for each of those to restore, and I pointed it to each of the 3 folders I made, and it booted up exactly the way I had it set before with the applications that I use, and the games that I had backed up are all on here. Not very many, but I had a few, and the dashboard was all set up, configured, even with my auto sign in and my avatar picture, all that was still in place. So it was as if nothing even happened, and the hard drive upgrade gained all that extra space. So the process isn't difficult. You'll actually see here that the hard drive is still only plugged in temporary because I had to bring it downstairs and get that partitioning thing figured out. And I'm actually not even quite ready to button up this Xbox yet because I'd like to go in there and remove those CPU capacitors and replace them, because that is pretty much the only weak spot left, I think, on this Xbox, or at least the one that I'd like to take care of first. And I'll be doing that in possibly my next project, or I think my next project will actually be over here. I got a Sony PS2 network adapter, and I even got the SATA upgrade kit, so I'll swap out this old IDE connector that this one came with, which was the times when this was released. So I got the OEM Sony adapter. You can buy really cheap knockoff SATA adapters that's already converted to SATA, and they go for quite cheap, but I wanted to get the OEM Sony one because that keeps the network functionality, and I always prefer the OEM equipment anyways, but having the network functionality seems essential when you're getting into homebrew and stuff, because it usually can facilitate updates and stuff. So that conversion kit to modernize it to the SATA, I got a 3 terabyte hard drive over there. I told you I had a whole bunch of them there, one for the Xbox, now one for this PS. And I got many more if I need them, since I had to surplus extras from a Synology that I had. And yeah, so I got a couple more projects on deck here, literally. So if you want to come check those out, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Got the PS2 right down there. That's the one that I restored in a previous video. So that'll be getting this upgrade now with the network adapter and the hard drive. And I already got some OEM memory cards here that I pre-labeled already because I'm going to be creating that free McBoot card. First I need to install free HD boot onto the hard drive that I have, and boot from that to create an installer to install onto this, and then I'll have my own free McBoot memory card, maybe even make 2. I don't know if I'll need another, but I'll be doing that in future projects. So stay tuned if you guys want to check those out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later.